Video. Okay, we'll be here in just one more minute. Okay. I do. Who didn't have one? Who don't have? Who has, but they left it at home?
But I will write on it. I will write in my book.
I left it at home.
I'll give it back after this because I've been.
I only got so much. Okay.
Jennifer doesn't know one.
But I can photograph it.
Jennifer, I got for you.
Is it okay if I scan
Who
it?
didn't have?
into my
Who
phone?
didn't write? That's it.
I don't have.
That's all I got. No, it's the same one.
I never got one.
Okay.
Yeah, we can share that. Yeah. And they will keep each
So
other.
there's nothing on it for that.
I'm going to keep my pencil right here on my elbow. So it's really hard to tell. Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I scan it.
Okay, are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Okay. We ready to go? All right, we're on class 3, Creating Angels. I believe we're on page because I don't have the pages marked. Pages on. Okay, so it really starts with, actually, maybe you guys can help me.
Weaker versus stronger. I think
That word is perfect. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Baruch Hashem, thank God. We're discovering that we are made in the image and likeness of God, and that is much more powerful than we can imagine. So many people think about it, but really don't really deeply think about it. And really, this solves the biggest thing, biggest issue, which is our self-image issues, right? Most people, it starts with the image of the self, what they believe they are, right? And all the stuff that we picked up either from previous lifetimes, parents, teachers, friends, right? And most important of all, Disney. Okay? Watch out for Disney. Okay? So in any case, but when we really incorporate and integrate the fact that we are made in the likeness of image of God, and that means in our creativity, our creative intelligence, which is so goes, and we see now in this generation how beyond it goes, beyond ever. Come on. I mean, it is so bizarre when everybody knows from the Star Trek episodes and the communicators, which was science fiction in those days, and then the flip phones, and now forget about flip phones. You see somebody with a flip phone, you're like, get out of the Stone Age, okay, right? And that was science fiction at the time, and so you know a man is capable with his imagination to make a lot of things, okay, and it won't stop, and we won't stop, okay. So we understand that the idea really in one of the forms that we are in likeness of God is because of that. Every thought and word and action that we say creates a malach, creates this creative, unbelievably creative force. Okay? And just like Hashem, he has angels that only do his will. So the thoughts that we think, and that's what I really want to focus on in this chapter, the thoughts that we think are creating these energies. Okay? And these energies only know how to bring to fruition whatever it is the nature of that thought. And you can't go over it enough because you got to be aware of your thoughts. Okay? So thank God we solved the identity, the self-image crisis. Now that we know that we are in the image and likeness of God, and therefore if you ever hear a thought in your mind that I'm a failure, right? I'm never good at this. I can never be good at that. I can never do this. So then you have to catch yourself, at least. And you have to understand the energy of that idea is going to always bring it about. Some people, they were told at a very young age that you're not good at math. Math is just not your thing, right? Mm-hmm. You'll always fail at math. And therefore, the person seeing this teacher and is told by an authority figure buys it and resonates with it. And then for the rest of her life, forget about any kind of math problems. No, I can't do it. Right? I will not even venture, right? No. So a person can really stifle themselves to a great degree. That's just one small example. Okay, so then we talked about our angels, and then, of course, the idea really here is that there's going to be different kinds of angels that we've been speaking about before. You have on the screen, the news screen, you'll have the ticker tape thoughts that are always fading, going in and going out, always flowing, and our mind is always flowing, even when we sleep. But then there's the real thoughts of conviction. So that's where we are here, weaker versus stronger angels. So the determining factors that make the angels more powerful or less are based on two things, quantity and quality. Now, quantity we just spoke about. We said if a person estimated thinks around 60,000 thoughts a day, that's around 60,000 angels. And of course, if there's confusion, right? Like a person is wishy-washy in their thinking, right? Then you're like an airplane with opposite rudders spinning in circles and therefore not going anywhere. Okay? So that's quantity. What about quality? So besides the amount of times the thoughts recur in our psyche, it is more important the degree we believe in them. Okay? To the degree we resonate with those thoughts, determine the power of the angel that is created. So just like I said, every thought you think should have a certain feeling tone. You remember we did this last week. Feeling, right? Right? Creates an energy, right? Right? So every single thought creates an energy. Certain thoughts depressing, certain thoughts are exciting, certain thoughts inspiring, right? Motivating, certain thoughts depressing, and they create an energy. The energy of depression creates sickness and just negative experiences. People don't want to hang around a person who's depressed and heavy, right? So to the degree we resonate with those thoughts, determine the power of the angel created. The depending factor is, and I put this in bold, the conviction of the idea. If something that you're very strongly have a very, very strong conviction for, and you won't budge, so that is a very powerful force. When you're absolutely, right? Absolutely won't budge. So the Shema I put in the parentheses, it's meant to be a note. Imagine this recitation of the Shema. Now the Shema is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. And we are the Jewish people. And that is the firmest faith in our inner essence. That even we don't even really connect with it. We try. And we can keep trying. Twice a day we make the biggest, the greatest attempt we can. When we affirm in our psyche and our whole being that God is all there is. And we're trying to integrate that into our being to a higher level every single time. Okay? Because when we say God is one, we are saying not that God is one and not two. We're saying God is all there is. And we're trying to affirm and deepen that belief and that conviction within us. To the degree that the Noam Elimelech wrote this little article that was still going around. It's called the Untitled Chapter. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Untitled means like, I don't know what a title is. I don't speak Yiddish. Chatasi avisi pashati. Okay, Untitled is like the petek, it's like a note, the little note. Katan is small. But it was about, so he has a list of things that a Yid who wants to be connected has to do. Like, little advice. Fascinating thing. But the first one is always, the first 2 points that he brings down are the most amazing points, okay? That the most amazing points that he helps us to try to work to connect, even though outwardly we're like, literally like that, because what I'm going to share with you is that when a person has to, if he's sitting buttled, he's sitting and he's nullified, he's not doing anything, he's not busy. Let's say you're at the post office waiting in line or at the grocery store, okay? And, most people nowadays thank God, or not thank God for those smartphones. They distract us miserably. Okay, so he advises, of course, they didn't have smartphones in those days. You should imagine that people come to you and they bring you in front of this idol and they say, you bow down to this idol or we kill you, and you imagine yourself being killed instead of bowing down to that idol. Imagine, you go through it and you imagine the joy of you being able to do that. You got to hook up to the simcha, ultimate joy. This is the greatest pleasure ever, right? You imagine a big fire, a fire going all the way to heaven. And you imagine, for the sake of God, I'm going to throw myself in that fire instead of committing idolatry. And you got to practice this. This is the practice, right? And he says specifically, when you say the Shema, and you go echad, and you elongate that dalit, you're supposed to go through this in your mind as if they're putting you saying, bow down to this idol or we're killing you, and you're willing to die for it. In other words, you're reaching into your soul to touch the level of commitment that you are to God. Total commitment, okay? That he is one. And you're supposed to really feel the resonance of that to the degree that it brings down in Latanya in chapter 47. Fantastic article there, chapter 47 in Tanya, that it brings down there that a person has to imagine every single day that God is bringing him out of Egypt. You have to feel that every day that God, like today, God brought me the joy. And especially when you're saying the Shema, he says, when you're saying the Shema, you have to imagine the joy that God is you're finally free. You're finally free. So I'm putting these two kind of ideas together here, right? Right? One is you got to say under your breath, well, the world's so overrated anyways, right? Willing to leave, okay? But, of course, God doesn't hold it that overrated. God holds it in very high esteem. It's very valuable. But on the other side, you have to express such a joy and such a love that, for God, you have to internalize this feeling of love so deep within you, so deep that because you're experiencing in that moment, and you could take, and as I am speaking this to you right now, you're trying now to get that feeling tone of an unbelievable freedom. There's no more barriers anymore. There's just you and God. There's just you and that unbelievable connection. And you appreciate God. And you see how your whole life, every single thing needed to be is exactly as it was. And how all of your life was so perfect and so beautiful. And not only your life, but everybody else's life as well. And it's such a connection of love at that moment. Now imagine that feeling. Even if you just grasped it from what I just went through, guided you in this waking meditation, right? Mm-hmm. For a moment, that's the resonance. Okay? Total commitment and total love. Because when you understand God is all there is, then of course you're going to love God in such a great way where all my money, my life, my money, whatever, I totally trust. No more barriers anymore. What an existence. Okay? So that's like we just created in angels as we spoke. Now the idea really is the level of commitment. Usually, to bring out these things, these convictions, always you need a corresponding force in order to... I think I shared with you once just recently it happened in Canada. I think the Prime Minister invited ISIS to come, right? And all of a sudden, a whole surge of the entire country just woke up and all of a sudden just became... No. No, that's not us. Whoa. And all of a sudden, so sometimes you need this force, you need this duality, and then all of a sudden, no. And then, okay, I'm awakened. Oh, no, all right? No, I'm not. So that's why I led you through this whole idea of picture them bringing you in front of an idol. And you're going to go, no. Inside within us, believe it or not, whether you feel it or not, it's there. It's an automatic. It goes into automatic pilot. If such a situation should occur, and first you have to know it's an automatic pilot, and you're kidding me. You mentioned this to some people. You say, Rabbi, I don't want to give up my donut and coffee in the morning. You're asking me to give up my life? Okay, it's not happening. Okay, speaking of coffee. Okay. So this is why affirmations don't work. Everybody remember affirmations? I think they might even still use them in California. Some people, I don't know. They don't work because an affirmation don't work because you have to resonate with it. It has to be true inside you. You can't just put "I am skinny" on your fridge door. That's not going to help. No, you can't just say, okay, words are nice, but no. What I'm saying is, you have to have the vibration. That creates the malach. The belief creates the angel. Okay? The stronger the belief, the stronger the angel. So now the idea really is to get down to the strongest belief. Okay? I went very extreme with the Shema, but sometimes it's good. This also illustrates the concept of to the degree of the awakening from below will be the bestowal from above. Perfect that we're mentioning this right now. This is an unbelievable rule. To the degree of the awakening from below will be the bestowal from above. This is the rule. This is the biggest rule. Brought down from the Leshem. I think I brought it down here. The Leshem here he brings down in the note. I'll tell you outside, without reading through it, is some interesting passages in the parshas in going out of Egypt. The ones we just went through, right? As a matter of fact, this one also has a huge one. Moshe Rabbeinu, after the burning bush, is instructed to go get the Jewish people out. God says, go to Paro. But Moshe doesn't go directly to Paro in this escape mission. He goes to the Jewish people, gathers all the leaders, speaks to them, and then goes to Paro. Right? Why? I mean, this is not just a nice narrative story, right? To go to Eretz Goshen, talk to all of these people saying, God sent me, and he does all the tricks, and we're going to get out. And then go to Paro. Listen, escape mission. Nail the bad guy, unlock the door, and get the guy out. You don't, let's have a conversation. Sometimes these movies that get into drama where they're talking, the prisoner and the guy getting them out or doing a dialogue. Well, you got to just get out. Okay? It's like, no, the drama. They got to drag. My wife, she was watching West Side Story many, many years ago, and the guy, I think, killed somebody, right? Tony kills somebody, and finally finds Maria, and they're singing. The cops are chasing you. The gang is chasing you. Everybody wants to kill you, and you're singing to each other. Okay, I'm sorry to get off on that. I'm sorry. My wife is going, what are they doing? Right? Whatever. Okay, sorry about that. Moshe Rabbeinu goes to the Jewish people first, and then he goes to Paro. Why? So simply, he had to go to the Jewish people to awaken the feeling in them. We're getting out. The belief. There cannot be a bestowal from God until there is a vessel to receive it. You have to create the vessel. No vessel God can't put in. You have to create a belief. We can get out. Freedom is accessible. This is so exciting. So he couldn't go to Paro until he went to the Jewish people first to ignite them. That's how it works. And then afterwards, what happened? Is Paro says, okay, no more straw for the bricks. Good luck with all that, right? And of course, after there's a dialogue between God and Moshe, he says, you have to go to Paro and tell him to get the Jewish people out. You go again, right? So Moshe Rabbeinu says, if the Jewish people are not going to listen to me, how is Paro going to listen to me? So you can ask a question simply, what's the connection? Who cares if the Jewish people are going to listen to you, if they listen to you or not? Get to the bad guy. Who cares? No. You need the vessel. No vessel, no bestowal. If the Jewish people don't believe in me, how? All the more so, Paro is not going to go with the flow, go with the program. So you need an awakening from below. It's all about that. It's all about developing this vessel within. It's amazing the potential that we have within us and to awaken that. And there's ways we can awaken it. Of course, the thoughts are the biggest dynamic to awaken a person, okay? Belief Belief means thoughts, okay? So when we believe in something with great conviction and belief, we are, in essence, striking a chord in our body, like I demonstrated with the tuning forks, classically manifesting a feeling. Thoughts create feeling tones. This is just going over everything that we've been speaking about. The feeling energy, hence the greater the conviction, will determine the power of the angel. And this is why affirmations don't always work. You have to believe them and resonate with them. They have to be true to you. It has to make sense. Okay? In other words, for us, and what we're always trying to accomplish is to have it make more sense that God is all there is within us. And the more it just makes sense to you, the more you'll resonate with it, and the more you'll be in that reality. If you're still on the fence, as we're going to talk about, right now, any doubts will destroy it. Yeah, I see. I mean, I read it last night, but any doubts will destroy it. Do you know the numerical value of the word in Hebrew for doubt? Safek. What is that? The same is Amalek. Amalek, the people that came to war against the Jewish people when they left Egypt, okay? There was a people who traveled 1,000 miles, hundreds of miles, out of their way, out of the blue. We got to go pick a fight with them. They're not in our land. They're not invading us. They're not anywhere near us. Get an army together. We're going. We got to go fight them. You know? Why? Right? Just to cool the bath. We're probably going to lose, but we got to cool this bath. They're too hot, too heavy. Right? We got to stop. We got to just... So they use the whole imagery of Amalek of a bath with boiling water in it. And they jumped in and got burned, but they cooled the bath. Just enough. In other words, they made a space for all of the other nations in the world, because believe me, here's the slave nation. The superpower is gone. Egypt is gone. They're leveled. It's desolate. The locusts ate up everything. Hey, right? Everything. They're just completely and they were just like, Manhattan just is not what it used to be. Okay? Yes, I'm going to use that mashal. I'm going to use that imagery. Yes, Manhattan is not what it... Okay, let's not go there. Okay? The idea really here is all of the nations of the world were going, huh? That's the nation that we were like looking to as for everything. And all of a sudden they're gone? Who are these guys? No one's going to mess with them. Amalek comes and says, no, we're going to mess. Just so that all the other nations then can feel free to also pick on them from here on. But the idea here is a deeper idea of Amalek, which represents doubt. In the end of days, it's known that we have to wipe out Amalek, right? Everybody always steps on the ground, like a rubber, because we have to wipe out Amalek because we're wiping out doubt. When there'll be no more doubts in our minds about the existence of God, that He's all there is, and the only thing to do is just to connect and hang out with God all day. And He just wants a loving relationship with us. And there's no doubt in my mind that all my needs will be taken care of completely. That is where, when you resonate with that and it makes sense to you, it has to make sense. It can't be just be, I'm just going to say this over like a mantra, and it might penetrate. But the idea really here is you have to get it to where it resonates, where it's a solid belief in you, okay? Another idea was also in this week's Parsha about awakening from below. Sorry, I forgot. I should have mentioned it before, actually, this week's Parsha, where is the splitting of the sea, where the Slonim Rebbe brings down, just amazing how lots of talk about that Nachshon ben Aminadav, the person who jumped into the sea. See, until he jumped in, right, there was never a complete... In order for the redemption of Egypt to be complete, there had to be something from us, from within us. Mm-hmm. We had to initiate something, okay? Like all the prayers, God gave us every single tool that we needed throughout the entire 10 plagues, telling us, I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm with you. I know where you are. I know all about you. I got you. I got you. But we needed to jump into the ocean. We needed to jump in. And until then, it was not going to be a complete redemption, because it was just all just given from above. There had to be something from with us. So you have to always look forward to some kind of action or some kind of, what can I do to initiate? Okay. So where am I? Okay. So Amalek, any doubts will destroy it. So to the degree that we can remove all doubts, we can get rid of Amalek, the nation of Amalek, from within us, within our hearts. So then, to the degree of conviction will be the degree of the energy that we will create to bring forth that experience. In order to believe them, they have to make total logical sense to you. Now we can easily understand the concept of thought dynamics and the necessity to train and retrain our will and minds, to focus and direct our powerful, formidable thoughts. Okay? So now the idea really here is you have to get your thoughts together. You have to, even just the beginning part, I always say, is to just be aware of the thoughts. Okay? That's step number one. Just be aware of them. Okay? So now where do thoughts come from? Okay, the next page. Where do thoughts come from? So here's a great quote from Rav Tzadok Cohen in his article from Machshavas Charutz. He wrote a lot of volumes of unbelievable, the deepest Torah. And here, when he heads out this certain article, he says, thought is the essence of man, which is just an amazing idea when you think about it. Thought is the essence of man. Because when you think about it, everything is fading. Everything's in the process of fading, right? Listen, it hit me when David Bowie passed away. I'm sorry to say that. My sister used to always listen to David Bowie. I didn't care too much for him, but anyways, I'm like, dude, I thought he would live forever. It's Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy. You see people who we all grew up with, right? Seeing on the screen, right? And they got older, and you're like, oh man, and you just have to ask, what's life about? And so listen. We all know what life is about. Thank God we're all here. It's nothing other than our relationship with God. And that is always going to be within our minds. Okay? The ideas that we hold and what we believe. Okay? So thought is our essence, because, the bodies, come and go. Bodies come and go.
Who did you say said that?
Rav Tzadok HaKohen. That's the note 10 there at the bottom. Rav Tzadok HaKohen, Machshavas Charutz in the very beginning. Wisdom, and then he goes on to say wisdom is the essence of thought. There you go. Oh, that doesn't mean every thought has wisdom in it. Okay, because some people just they think it. Okay, so that's not. So what's a real thought? Wisdom is the essence of real thought. Okay, have you ever wondered where thoughts come from? Okay, yes, the mind is constantly thinking, and yet we can grab the reins and focus our thoughts anytime we want. It's amazing how our minds always work even when we sleep. Okay? Always, our minds are always working, just like we're always breathing, right? Some parts you don't have to think about thinking, right? But anytime you want to, you can grab the reins. Anytime, okay? It's like it's always in motion. But anytime you want to, you can go ahead and now consciously breathe, take deep breaths anytime. But really, without consciously thinking about it, you'll be breathing, just like you're constantly digesting if there's food in there, right? You don't have to think about it. Okay, I'm working on digesting my food right now. You don't have to focus on that, okay? Your mind is also always going, but anytime you want to, you can grab those reins, okay? So, our minds can automatically wander into fantasy and in a split second focus on an important task. It is explained to us from the mystics that the way thoughts work is that there is what we call this mocha stima. Okay? It's a great word, mocha stima, okay? Which means the hidden thought reservoir. Okay? If you think of the mocha stima, actually, what I would call, and what the Tikkun Zohar refers to it as, the ring. That's right. In our ancient Kabbalistic text, it speaks about rings. But a different kind of ring, not a physical ring. Okay? But the ring here, the unbelievable concept of when we call thought, right? That the thoughts come from mocha, which means brain, and stima, which means closed. Okay, very much like, where's the markers? Someone find me the markers. Thank you. Okay. A closed mem. Okay? Right? The closed mem. It's a ring. By the way, in Hasidic customs, it is someone who gets married. They actually will marry someone, they will get a square ring, square on the outside, round on the inside. Okay? Yeah, which I always advise anybody who's getting married to go get that kind of ring. And you can order it online. I don't know about Amazon. But you can order it because there's a very, very, very deep concept in having and marrying someone using the square ring. Okay? I won't get into it. But in any case, the idea here of mocha stima is very much like this. The hidden thought reservoir that no one can touch. Because when you think about it, where do thoughts come from? They just pop in. Could be an ibor. Could be, who knows, right? Actually, really, we know, bottom line, it always comes from Hashem. Okay? These are counsel. Like I said last week, or maybe I give so many classes I forget. Rabbi Nachman was overhearing someone doing the evening prayer. And in the evening prayer, there's a certain line where he say, "V'tzakneinu be'etza tova milfanecha." Fix us with your good advice, God, from before you. So Rabbi Nachman says, this guy, he's saying it, he doesn't know how deep this prayer is. You always got to ask God for good advice. And he puts the good advice into our minds, okay? But in the beginning, okay, it is a dimension beyond in which that hidden thought will dress itself, layers upon layers, until it reaches the conscious mind. It comes from a very hidden place, our thoughts. Voila, our thoughts come from a very sublime hidden dimension. It's really our soul, in the essence, because our souls are really constantly connected to God. The Baal Shem Tov teaches that the soul dresses in the will, and the will dresses in the thoughts. So our beliefs, wills, and thoughts are garments of our soul. Go figure. Okay? So when you think about it, the soul, the garments, and this is why we always say, and I bring this later on, the famous line that the Baal Shem Tov says, and it's so deep, and you just got to have this like stapled to your forehead. No, well, not stapled, maybe tape. That's a little, harsh. Wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. Have you heard that before? Sure. So deep. Oh my gosh. Wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. That's why does that make sense? Why is that? It's simply because obviously, what are you talking about, Rabbi? I'm sitting here in this room. What are you telling me? If I'm thinking that I'm at the Galleria, I'm at the Galleria? It's because if that's where your thoughts are, because the thought is the garment of your soul, and your essence is your soul. Your essence is your soul. Your body's not you. Your body's just like the outer garment. So really, we got 3 garments, really 4, that our soul really has. It has will, it has thoughts, then it has your levush, which is a spiritual type of garment that is enhanced through the mitzvot that we do. And then there's your body. Okay? But the highest thing to understand is the garments of your soul or your thoughts. And then wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. So if you're thinking you're in the Galleria right now because you have to be there in 20 minutes, okay? That's where you are. It's like going, you hear it all? You hear? Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay. Right? So when you think about it, you have to always keep yourself, and this is what that mindfulness stuff is about, right? I believe. It's like trying to be in the here and now. Feel here and now. Feel the pressure of the chair. be aware of the air, and just to be aware, just to be in the here and now. Here and now I feel, here and now I think. Just try to kind of bring yourself to focus in the here and now.
You want to bring those thoughts to the here and now.
Yes.
That's all
So anytime you want to, your thoughts could wander, but anytime you want to, you could just grab the reins, grab the wheel, okay? Just hold on to the wheel. It's automatic pilot, but you want to grab on, and you have the force to grab on, okay? The idea really here is there's something called will, thoughts, right? Will, let's go. The thoughts, will, and then your soul, okay? These are the lofty, high-style thoughts, the real wisdom, okay? Not any kind of thoughts, okay? Thoughts of the Galleria. Huh. No. The thoughts that we only want to seek the ultimate self-expression of our souls. In other words, the deep thoughts, the deep soul-style thinking. Not the ticker tape that's running on the bottom of the screen, okay? The thoughts, in a certain way, are merely a vessel and a garment for our souls to attain its expression. It is the gate we see in Parshat Shoftim. Parshat Shoftim in Deuteronomy. It mentions there, Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha b'chol sha'arecha. Judges and officers you must put in all of your gates. It says that explicitly, right? So everybody, according to the simple way to understand, of course, that in the gates, in every city, you have to have judges who render the legal decisions, and then the officers who make sure that gets carried out. You need a force. Guys with sticks. Okay? But of course, in the esoteric meaning, it's something completely different that the Baal Shem Tov says. It says, Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha b'kol sha'arecha, which means your gates are your thoughts. And Shoftim v'shotrim are love and fear. Love and fear are the judges and officers in your thoughts. Meaning, every thought you have to evaluate. Is this going to bring me closer to God or not? Is this going to give God nachas or not? Is this going to enhance my relationship or not? In other words, the gates are the thoughts, the gates to your soul. Okay? So that's why it's such an unbelievable tool, is to nip it at the thought. Okay? There are also thoughts that come from the body. Ooh, here we go. What we call in general the lower soul. Okay, the Tanya brings down Nefesh Bahamas. Bahamas? Isn't that a place? No, Nefesh Bahamas. The Nefesh Behema. Okay, sorry, just to wake you up. Okay, the Nefesh Behema, which is the animal soul. The animal soul. Okay? So the animal soul, of course, it has its own language, right? And the language of the animal soul is, I want this pleasure now. Okay, so now we are introduced to a higher soul and a lower soul. Okay? And we'll get into this later on when we get into the will unification. Okay? But anyways, you have to understand that there's also stuff, because we're asking where thoughts come from, and there are high places where they come from, and there's also low places where they come from. Okay? The lower soul has its own agenda, which hardly ever coincides with the higher soul's agenda. Sometimes they just don't see things, and this is where the challenge comes from. Yes? Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavecha. You have to love Hashem with all your levavecha, 2 hearts. And the commentaries bring down your Yetzer Tov, and you have to love God with your Yetzer Hora. How do you do that? Okay? Because you have to know how to talk to your Yetzer Hora. Because sometimes if you go against your Yetzer Hora with that, right? With this, I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 chances ain't going to work. Because you're going like this, and then you're realizing when you're going like this to your Yetzer Hara, you're realizing you look behind you, he's the one making you do that in the first place. Okay? And he's laughing, okay? Because he got you, okay? So when you go combative, no. You have to be the poor wise child. Okay? You have to be smart. Okay? You have to win him over and convince him. And there are ways to do that we'll get into. Okay? Our main challenge in life is to align these 2 agendas, Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. Right? It is very rooted in the body and all the materialistic forces. That's talking about the lower soul. Yes, it's a battle, as the Tanya brings down, right? The battle over the city. It's not a tale of two cities, it's a tale of one city. And there's two kings trying to conquer the city. Okay? Trying to take over that left ventricle in the heart. Okay? We call it the battle between the good inclination and the bad inclination. So a person also, in terms of what we're investigating here, is be aware of the thoughts. Ask, who said that? Dare to do this. Okay? When you say, go for ice cream. Who said that? Okay, you can ask it. Once you... The name of the game is the name. Once you name what it is, you have an edge over it. Okay? Always. Okay? Once you say, oh, that's my Yetzer Hara. Once you really solidly understand that's the name, then you, right? So can changing your thoughts affect our will and in turn affect our soul? So absolutely, because that's where the playing field is. Because there's no thought you cannot think. But one must believe in those thoughts with conviction, and that's where it rules. And that's why, thank God, we have Torah, because Torah helps us navigate. Okay? Otherwise, forget it. Okay, so therefore we have, in terms of where our thoughts come from, we have two basic places. It could come from the soul, and it could come from the body. And of course, thank God for the kosher thought diet, the Torah, that's going to help us to get on a good program. Okay? The will, here's where it really is. Because don't forget, we're all investigating this idea of B'derech shadam rotzeh lelech molichin oso. In the way which a man wants to go, they lead him. They are the angels. In a way which a person wants to. Now, will is something very deep. So ultimately, the decider is what we call the will, ratzon. Okay? The will is the point of meeting between the soul and the body. Independently, let me just see what I wrote. Okay. That's not the right note place. Independently, neither has a will, soul or body, until soul enters body and becomes a novel creation called a bodified soul. Intrinsically, the body does not want to follow the will of the soul, to be a dwelling place for the divine presence. And the soul wants to make the body that dwelling place, and that's the will. In other words, if you really want to know, cut to the chase, what's the real will of the soul? The will of the soul wants nothing other than God's presence here and now in the ultimate way. Only God's expression is full expression right here, right now, completely. That's what the soul really wants. Okay? A complete, sincere relationship with God and His manifestation. Okay, the body wants chocolate ice cream. Okay? Okay? So, they don't really get to manifest the will until soul is in a body. Okay? So, of course, we have interference of the evil inclination, which is another subject entirely. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. Turning back to the original phrase saying, the way which a person wants to go, they lead him. The way which a person wants to go refers to will. Don't forget, you always got to have that in your mind. B'derech shadam rotzeh lelech, rotzeh lelech. Where do you want? I'm telling you, I heard this one inspiring class, Rabbi Moshe Weinberger. I listen to him all the time. And at the end of the class, he said, what do you want? I remember bringing my wife to some Kabbalist, and he also just looked at my wife, what do you want? And if I ask you that right now, will you be able to say to me exactly with 100% conviction what you want? Mm-hmm. Well, I want this, and I want that, and I want this, and I want that. Okay? Some people can. Okay? Me, a lot of times, I'm confused. I'll tell you the truth. Well, you got to kind of bring it out of you, right? Prayer is the ultimate thing to bring it out of you, okay? So the idea really, if you can ask yourself the question, what do you want? And that's really when you dig into the deepest will, that's when you're really creating the most powerful angels of all. Because then you have absolute clarity. And there's no doubts. And then you're Avram Avinu in the world. Okay? So to turn back to the original phrase saying, the way which a person wants to go, they lead him. The way which a person wants to go refers to will. Will is the factor that sets this process in motion. Will creates powerful angels, not mind sputter. Okay? Not the ticker tape. Even though that might create something, but nothing really glamorous. Indeed, the idea here is to rectify, and I would also like to say unify the will. Okay? Am I on the right page? What's the next word?
From that.
From that will, thank you. From that will, proper thoughts flow. Because then you're already in the driver's seat. And all the thoughts are only going to come from that will. Okay? Because don't forget, it works like this. Soul, will, thought. Okay? So that will brings rise to needs. Okay? Which brings rise to thoughts, which works hard towards that will's fulfillment. So here I brought down in the note here, just to give us another kind of the Sulam is great in terms of when he gave it such a formula, and once he gives you the formula, it unlocks every single thing in the entire universe. Okay, that's what Kabbalah does. It gives you a formula, and all of a sudden, okay. So he brings down the simple thing that we've been discussing for years, and I'm always discussing, is when God made a creation, he made a creation in order to bestow pleasure. Okay? So instantly what had to be created, the will to receive that pleasure. Yeah? Okay? So therefore, the only really unique, novel idea that all of creation is made out of, all of creation, the universes, the galaxies, every single thing, is made up of the stuff. What's the stuff? It's called Ratzon Lekabel, will to receive. Okay? That's the novel thing that he has nothing to do with, because God does not need to receive. There's no will to receive because he's God. Okay? He's infinite. He doesn't need to receive from anybody. So the only thing, the novelty that we have is that will to receive, okay, that we're kind of stuck with. Okay? We have to be on this end. Okay? So there's the will to receive, and then there's, what's the other will? Ratzon lahashpia, will to bestow. That's God. God only has a will to bestow. Since we're in the image and likeness of God, we have both of those inside of us. Oh yeah. There's the will to bestow, and then there's a will to receive. Which one's bigger? Your body is saying, give me now. Okay? Chocolate ice cream, no. Okay, so and then so it's a loud voice, right? And then maybe your Yetzer Tov, your soul, your neshama. Okay, you got to nip it at the thoughts. So when you learn Torah, of course, that's going to cleanse out and develop your will to bestow. That you can actually convert your will to receive into being a receiving almanat lahashpia, a receiving on the condition that it's bestowing through its receiving. What is that? Have you heard that before? Never shared that with you. A receiving, when you're receiving, you're actually bestowing through your receiving. The parable is the guest who's passerby, host brings him into his house, rich man, they're talking, he loves this guy, he's been an acquaintance, he knows him, and they're having a great conversation, he wants to give him food, and the guest refuses because he's a little embarrassed, even though he's hungry, he's starving, okay? So they speak a little bit more, and the host, please, I want to give you food. No. They're talking a little bit more till the host is like, please, come on. Right? So he's actually in pain because he's not giving, because he really wants to give. Right? And so then, at a certain point, then the guest will say, okay. And then, of course, the host's eyes light up. And he gets his servants together and he makes food and he's so excited and he's actually giving and he gives to the guest and he's so happy, he's so elated. So here's the guest who's receiving, but he's actually bestowing through his receiving. He's actually giving him the ability to give. Right? So you got it? That's where we're here to convert. That's everything. Everything right there. The whole universe in a nutshell. Right there. What?
Would you say that phrase again in Hebrew? How did you say
Lekabel al manat lahashpia, to receive on the condition that you're giving. And that's how our relationship with God is completely. I'm telling you right now. You just jump right now and spend a few minutes just being grateful. And then you let that gratefulness just permeate your entire body. And then you're just saturated with so much gratefulness. And you're about to explode with gratefulness. And then, God, I got to do something for this. Give me some, whatever. Let me not hold anything back from you. Right? Imagine yourself being in such a state. You get like that. You get to be in like that all day long. Right? If you get it at the thoughts, right? It's all about the thinking. It's all about focusing your thoughts, right?
Rabbi, that brings a thought that I think is relevant here. You tell me what you think. Some years ago, I worked with a young man from China. He was, his family was very persecuted, and they were trying to get here to America. And he was one of our programmers. And he told me a most profound thing about giving and receiving. And I was in the server room, and they were having a, what is it that they have, a white elephant?
White elephant.
It's some kind of weird thing. I never did partake of it. It's just a weird thing where I don't know how it works, but you give gifts, and it's during their Thanksgiving period, Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. Mainly, I think it's Christians who do it. But anyway, I was in the server room because I didn't ever attend that, and he came in, and I said, "Why aren't you in there with everybody else eating?" And he told me something about why he couldn't. He said, what they're doing with the gifts, because what you do is you put it back. I don't know, I forget how it works, but you take a gift. It's just a crazy, chaotic thing in my brain. Yeah. And so he told me this.
You can either accept the gift or leave it for somebody else, and then you get a chance to choose somebody.
So it's just a weird thing.
Okay, fine.
He told me this. The reason I had to tell you guys that is so you know why he was even speaking to me of this. And he said, in China, when you give a gift, you do not wait for the receiver to open it, because then you receive the gift.
I'm trying to, let me think that. I can't think that through. You wait a minute. If you give a gift, you don't wait for the receiver to open it.
In front of you.
Oh, you mean you split?
Yeah.
Okay,
give
fine.
The gift. It's not
give the gift and split. Give the gift and split, because why? They might not like it?
No, so that you don't receive the joy of that person.
You are giving, but you're really not giving. You're waiting for them to go.
Oh, it's for you to have a sense of happiness and joy in giving?
I remember
That's the opposite of what he's saying.
frozen.
That's the opposite of what he's saying.
No,
No,
that's not the Jewish way. And that's why those people are so hard and cruel. Okay? That's why they don't have any God, and that's why they're the coldest people I've ever seen on the face of the planet. Okay? They're the most ruthless.
No, that's what I mean.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry to say that. Sorry to pop that out on Facebook. Okay, fine. You want that there should be a good feeling. And if you could give somebody a good feeling, whoa. I mean, hey, it's all about giving. Okay? Okay. So anyways, we'll stop here. Okay? We'll continue with our exploration into the will. Okay, so what do we get out of today? Let's go back over it. Stronger angels versus weaker angels. The stronger the conviction, the more powerful the angel. The more you believe in something, the more the force it is to create it. Okay? So, and we spoke about awakening from below, right? You need the awakening from below in order for there to be a bestowal from above. If you don't have the idea, God ain't going to give it. That's why Adam Arishon, he was created. God did not make any grass or trees, right? Nothing sprouted. Here's Adam, and it's a wasteland, and he realized we need rain to pray for rain so he can appreciate rain, and then everything could sprout. If there's not an awakening from below, there's no bestowal from above. Okay? And then, of course, where do thoughts come from? We got all kinds of thoughts from our souls and from our bodies. Our thoughts are the gateways. Okay? Okay? So that's we have to understand the garments of the soul. All right.
Thank you.